Hello there, fellow cultists. This is DM Nell, and I'm back with another Shadow Talk, and this is episode 131. And today I'll be covering a lot of stuff, but the main topic is my continuation of the deep dive into Tales of the Demon Lord, and we'll be getting to that here shortly. First of all, I want to talk about new products and news. But even before I get into that, I do want to make a correction on something that I said in my previous video when I was going over the Shadow of the Weird Wizard quick play and covering the ancestors that were present in the pre-gen characters. I had a viewer correct me, and one of the observations that I had made and an assumption that I had made was that the Dragonette ancestry was going to be something akin to a kobold in D&D. That is actually incorrect. The Dragonette is actually a small dragon. So if you look here in this Shadow of the Weird Wizard cover photo, you can see the Dragonette right here. I had assumed that was kind of like just a monster or maybe a familiar, but no, this is actually one of the player characters, and it is a wizard Dragonette. So that is the Dragonette ancestry. Yeah. So if you choose to play one of those, you're going to be playing a little dragon. How cool is that? So anyway, just wanted to make that correction, and I want to thank my viewer that had made that observation and correction. I can't remember who it was because I have so darn many viewers that I can't keep them all straight. I'm joking, of course. I don't have all that many viewers, but I do have more than 500 now. So at the beginning of this year, I wanted to crack 500. I didn't think I was going to make it. But as of about a week or so ago, I managed to get past 500 viewers. I'm now up to 508, I believe. So I want to thank you all for taking the time to subscribe to my channel. And hopefully it is worth your while to continue to do so. I will continue to try to produce content that is interesting to those of you who like the Schwab Entertainment products, and maybe even some things outside of that. Thank you once again, viewer who had corrected me. All right, so let's get into the new products and news. So let's see here. The first item is a Kickstarter update. So we're here on Kickstarter, and you can see that as of right now, and I'm recording this on September the 3rd, the total pledges for Shadow of the Weird Wizard are at $340,499 with 3,404 backers, which is pretty cool. And we've gotten, I believe, most of the stretch goals knocked out, but there are a couple left. The next one is at $360,000, which we're closing in on, and that's the Free Companies of the Four Towers. And then at $400,000 is the Lost Lands of Earth. I'm hoping we get those last two because I really would really love to have those be part of the Kickstarter. Now there's only 3 days left in the Kickstarter, and this is when things start to ramp up for pretty much any Kickstarter as we get down to the wire. We start getting those last minute pledges, people that were on the fence. And I got to tell you, if you're on the fence, just look at all the stuff you'll be getting by pledging. You're going to be getting not only the core stuff, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. You're guaranteed to get 17 stretch goals. And then if we can get these last two, that'd be 19 stretch goals. So that is freaking fantastic. And I certainly hope that we close out this stretch or this Kickstarter well over 400,000. I was kind of hoping for 1 million, but it doesn't look like we're gonna go get up to 1 million. That would have been fantastic. Oh well. I'm happy with being able to get all those Kickstarter stretch goals. All right, so that's your Kickstarter update. Initiative tokens. So this was advertised, I believe, in Facebook. And these are now available. Initiative tokens now available. And let's just click on and get a closer look here. All right, so this is your initiative tokens that you would use when you want to seize the initiative. So if you're obviously these are more worthwhile if you're playing in person, but also nice to have as a collector's item. Basically, the seize the initiative would be something that you could toss a coin to your game master just to indicate to them that you are seizing the initiative. Of course, it's not necessary to have a coin. You can just seize the initiative. However, it's always cool when players toss coins at the game master, right? So if you're into that sort of thing, or if you're just a collector, then this would be a thing to get. Now, they had something similar in the Shadow of the Demon Lord Kickstarter, which I unfortunately did not get the metal tokens, and these are metal initiative tokens. In Shadow of the Demon Lord, they had fast and slow turn tokens, which was one. Again, it was just a metal token that was two-sided. But he also provided these poker chips that had the fast and slow turn. So, I got a nice little stack of those. Let's see, get a good better look here. Yeah, that's the fast side, and that's the slow side. So that was from the Shadow of the Demon Lord Kickstarter. I also had some Shadow of the Demon Lord dice, which I got once upon a time. That wasn't part of the Kickstarter, I don't think. I think I was just on the Schwab website back when he was selling merch. Okay, so at any rate, that's that Shadow of the Demon Lord stuff is not relevant. I just want to show it off. But the initiative tokens are relevant, so if you want to purchase those, I believe you'll be able to do so. Let's see here. You can increase your pledge now by $20, which will include the shipping cost for this item. Or you can throw your bucks towards the item when we migrate to the pledge manager. This is a great product by a great company and will enhance your play experience. All right. So campaign coins, designed by artist Anithia Wright. Who's an artist and illustrator. So there you go. Okay. Actually, I don't know if this is the final design. I'm sure it'll look something like this, but probably is subject to change if they deem that's necessary between now and then. Okay, so at any rate, that was Weird Wizard Initiative tokens. The next item on the agenda has to do with all the interviews this guy is doing, and this guy being Robert Schwab. So he's been doing a ton of interviews to support this Weird Wizard Kickstarter. And so the latest ones he's done is up here on Facebook. So let's see, he did a podcast with a group called the Titter Pigs, TTRPG podcast. I've not listened to them. It looks like they have 31 episodes. So I'm going to have to hunt them down and take a listen now. Then we have the Gnome Stews Gnomecast. And Robert Schwab did an interview with them as well. And then, of course, we have another podcast that I have not listened to. And that is Sweden Rolls. And I have no idea what that is. It's looks like a Simplecast. I'm not sure what how that differentiates from a podcast, but the links are here, and I'll try to put the links on the comment section of the video if I can remember to do that. And then the last, and I may did I put this on the last video? I don't remember, but anyway, he's also done a interview with Tabletop and Beyond gaming podcast. So there you go, 4 additional interviews, and I'm sure he's repeating a lot of the same stuff on these interviews, but to try to get to the wider audience, you kind of have to do the you got to do the rounds, and a lot of that becomes repetitive because there's only so many questions you can ask about a Kickstarter, and there's only so much background information you can provide about his experience and stuff. So I'm sure that a lot of it is repetitive, but Rob Schwab is always entertaining. So, giving each of these a listen is probably not a waste of your time. Okay, so that is it for the, let's see if there's anything else here on the Schwab website. So let's see, I mentioned the Weird Wizard live play last time, so we have 2 episodes out. I don't know how many episodes there are in total. It may be wrapped up with episode 2. I'm not really sure. They are doing the quick play adventure. So if you're interested in hearing how that plays out, then you've got 2 live plays that you can listen to on your YouTubes or your preferred method of listening. I believe you can just listen to it directly from the Schwab Entertainment website. Okay, so that is it for my news and products. So let's jump into the main topic, shall we? All right. So a couple of videos ago, I started going into the Tales of the Demon Lord. This was something I've been meaning to do for a while. Somebody asked me if I could go into this in some detail, and so I am doing that. This is not a review. This is not a comprehensive step-through video. This is basically just kind of giving you an idea of what you can expect to find in Tales of the Demon Lord and just some of my personal observations and experiences from having run this. Now keep in mind I ran this back in 2016 or 2017, so that was quite a while ago. So my memory may not be all that great, but I'll give you what little tidbits of insight that I can drudge up from those buried files. Okay, so we have already gone through the introduction. We've gone through the City in Shadow. And now we are up to Chapter 2, which is Harvester of Sorrows. So this is an adventure for starting characters. And it kicks off the adventures for this adventure path. But it could also be used as a standalone adventure if you want to take your own, if you want to do your own thing and do your own adventure path or your own campaign and not use the Tales of the Demon Lord. You could very easily take any one of these adventures that's in this book and use it as a standalone. This is a great introductory adventure. It is challenging, but it's very short. So you could probably get it done in a 3 to 4 hour session. If you really put your mind to it. Okay, so we have some basic information here. Like this is a 2-page summary for your adventure, and it does not go into a ton of detail, but it gives you just enough to do what you need to do to run this adventure. You can expand on this, or you can, take whatever elements of this adventure and flesh it out however you want to. But I found that there's plenty in here, even though it's only 2 pages, there's plenty in here to get this adventure going and wrapped up in a satisfactory manner. So what we have, first of all, is we've got an adventure hook right off the bat here. Well, even before that. We've got the kind of a summary here, and it says, after a long search, cultists from the Brotherhood of Shadows recently unearthed the Eye of the Demon Lord from a vault beneath a rotting house, the residence of a notorious demonologist centuries before. While hunting for the artifact, the cultists accidentally let loose an organ filch held in the vault. In the aftermath, the monster has been hunting the people of Grievings, and a beloved priest has disappeared, while searching for missing victims. The player characters complete this adventure when they infiltrate the organ filch's lair, end its threat, and rescue the missing priest. Not prince, priest. So, so that gives you all the information you need right there for what this adventure is all about. And it also gives you some insight on how this campaign was kicked off. So the whole campaign is centered around the Brotherhood of Shadows trying to summon the Demon Lord. And the key to that is the Eye of the Demon Lord, which is a relic that they found here in a house. And that's what kicks off this starting adventure, but nicely ties it into the overarching adventure. So the primary NPCs that we have to work with here are Father Gregory, who is a priest that is working in the poorest district in Crossings, which is the Grievings district. He is a priest of the New God, and he reports, of course, up to the main church there. But he does his own thing. He's got his own little shrine, which he calls the Shrine of the Ascended, in the Grievings district, and he's very well loved. Everybody that sees him on the street or goes to his shrine, he's just a very beloved priest. He goes missing. And so, the people in the Grievings district are very concerned for Father Gregory, but they also notice that the Brown Cloaks, which is the police force of Crossings, don't seem to care, and they're not doing anything about it. All except for one, and this is the other primary NPC, and it is Sergeant Elise. Sergeant Elise is one of the Brown Cloaks, and she actually comes from this district, so she's got ties to the people here. She's a young woman in her 20s. It gives a bit of a description here. And she was very close with Father Gregory. And now that he's gone missing, she has been wanting to start an investigation, but her superiors are basically forbidding her to do any investigating. And so she is the quest giver in this adventure. So the player characters are assumed to be in the Grievings district for whatever reason, and it's probably a good starting point for the player characters, whether they are staying here as they are passing through Crossings or whether they come from here. Either way is fine. Grievings is the cheapest district in the city, so more than likely a starting group would likely be starting from this place. Given the fact that they won't have a whole lot of money to start with. So, but even if they're not native to this district, then they could very easily be drawn into this by friends or family that happen to know Father Gregory, and push them to do something about it. But even if they don't get that type of hook from other means, then Sergeant Elise again will be the quest giver, and she will meet up with the characters in the Tavern of the Fallen Soldier, which is a rundown tavern on the border between Grievings and Tankards. And she knows that not only is Father Gregory missing, but there are other people that have come up missing as well. People not as well known, not as well beloved, but there's a list of them. So she can give the names and what who these people are when the player characters are meeting with her at the tavern. Now, why they meet with her, that could be because of a connection through an NPC, the connection to the town council. Maybe one of the player characters is petitioned to become a Brown Cloak, and they have talked with Sergeant Elise. And before they become a Brown Cloak, she wants them to investigate this for her. There's a number of ways that you can pull the characters into this, but the easiest way is if they're looking for work because they have no money, and they heard that Sergeant Elise is willing to pay for somebody to investigate the disappearance of Father Gregory. So once they go to the fallen soldier, she meets with them and gives them all of these missing people. And most of them seem to be people nobody cares about. There's a prostitute. There's an old paraplegic, an orphan, fortune teller, an ex-soldier, and a blind beggar. So all of these folks have been snatched up off the street, and they're missing. And then the most recent was Father Gregory. So when you get to the Fallen Soldier Tavern, it gives you a little bit of background here. Verge is the tavern owner, Quarian Verge, portly man with shaggy black hair and blisters. And the tap room reeks of vomit and piss, boasts a single bar with a few stools, a couple of tables, and a hearth that is never lit. So you can get information by talking to Verge or anybody else in the tavern. There's 4 bullet points of information here. And then, of course, talking with Sergeant Elise. Okay, so all of this talk leads people to believe that the place known as the Moore House, which is a greatly dilapidated manor in the Grievings district, that there are some there's a gang that hangs around there that may know something about the disappearances. And so going to the Moore House will bring out the Rude Boys, or the player characters can go seek out the Rude Boys. This is a local gang, and they've got some knowledge of what may be going on, so they can talk to the Rude Boys, or if they go straight to the Moore House just to investigate the house itself, the Rude Boys will intervene because this is part of their turf, and they don't like people trespassing, or they may be looking for a quick buck and might try to push the player characters around. Either way, the Rude Boys can be in an encounter, or a couple of encounters that the characters have, or they could be assistance in gathering additional information about the Moore House and the activity going on here. So by going to the Moore House, the characters find out that it's a dilapidated manor, hasn't been lived in decades, and it looks like it. But there has been some recent activity inside, some kind of mysterious activity. People say that it's haunted, and so people mostly stay away from it. But the Rude Boys have seen things coming and going. In fact, it says right here, the Rude Boys have observed the Organ Filch leaving and entering Moore House, but they have kept their distance from the creature and have no idea what it is. So if if the player characters fight the Rude Boys and manage to question them and get some information out of them, they'll know that there is a creature, a humanoid creature that is coming and going from the Moore House, which should be enough to get them interested in going in and investigating the house itself. Now, the house has 2 stories and a basement, and there's not a whole lot of rooms to explore, and all of those are detailed. Well, a summary is given for each of the floors here. So on the main floor, I forget which one is main. This must be the left side, must be the main floor, and the second side is the second floor. So it gives all the information that you need for the main floor is down here, and then the second floor information is up here. Then you got a secret chamber and the demonologist's vault. So those are the 4 areas of the house that are located on the 3 levels. Father Gregory can be found in the demonologist's vault on the 4th level, but that is also where the Organ Filch calls his headquarters, and so more than likely the PCs will encounter an Organ Filch. Now let me tell you, starting characters fighting an Organ Filch is going to be a very difficult fight. Probably going to have 1 or more casualties before the Organ Filch is taken out, if the Organ Filch can't even be taken out. Now, an Organ-Filch is not that super tough. I think he is a difficulty 25, I want to say, something like that. Maybe 10. But for starting characters, it's pretty tough. He does 2d6 damage with a scalpel. And I remember my players were like freaking out that a scalpel does 2d6 damage. And I was like, oh, you know what? The Organ-Filch, it knows where to cut. And it cuts deeply with that scalpel. And they're like, yeah, apparently. So yeah, the Organ-Filch is a tough opponent. They don't need to fight the Organ-Filch here, but it's definitely a possibility that they encounter the Organ-Filch. So what else can they encounter in the house here? Well, there's a pack of rats that they can encounter. There's also an apparition that shows up on the main floor between midnight and dawn. And let's see here. What else is there? There's a ghoul that is also in the basement. And, ghouls can be pretty tough as well. And so, yeah, all that stuff is there. You also may get some... you may also want to give out some clues regarding what was in this vault. You might want to lay a foundation here for the Eye of the Demon Lord. Also, perhaps the former owner of the house, whose name was Moore, was a demonologist who stole the Eye of the Demon Lord from a vampire by the name of Lucretia. Now, I don't know how much of that you want to give away here, but you might want to give out clues that a powerful relic was once kept here and it was stolen from an evil vampire or something along those lines. Obviously, the vault had recently been broken into. You might want to give clues that it was not broken into by the Organ-Filch, that the Organ-Filch was actually locked in the vault and that somebody else let it free, presumably that somebody else that took the Eye of the Demon Lord. So these are all things that you can incorporate. Of course, you don't need to incorporate all that stuff, but if you want to start laying a foundation and start planting those seeds for later in the campaign, this is a great starting point for that. Okay, so that is pretty much it. It's a very short adventure. Like I said, you can get it done in one evening and get your characters advanced quickly from starting to their first novice level. So that's what I would recommend that you do. Try to shorten this adventure down to one evening, be it 3 hours or 4 hours. If you're doing 3 hours, then I would say cut to the chase. Say that the characters have already met with Sergeant Elise. They offered her money, and they are now heading towards the Moore house to investigate. That's how I would just start it off, assuming that the quest has been accepted and the characters are on their way to the Moore house. That's where they encounter the Rude Boys on the street going towards the Moore house, and then they can investigate the Moore house, which should take them a couple of hours to do that. So that is my recommendation. If you have 4 or more hours, then you can go a little bit more into the preamble here of the adventure. Introduce Sergeant Elise, introduce Verge and the Fallen Soldier as a place that the characters can go to for information and that sort of stuff. But if you're short on time, if you're short on time, just cut to the chase and get them to the Moore house as quickly as possible. All right, so that is the first starting adventure for Tales of the Demon Lord. When I do my next video on this series, we will cover Born to Die, which is the first novice adventure for this campaign. And so we'll pick it up there next time. So with that, let me go ahead and wrap things up. I appreciate you all watching my videos and following along with Tales of the Demon Lord. As I've mentioned before, I think this is a great campaign. Does it need a little bit of work in order to make it smooth? Yeah, it does. But you know what? Every campaign does. Even all these D&D campaign books that I have on my shelf that are 250 pages need work in order for me to make them work. This book is much shorter and has just enough information for me to expand upon it without having to read through 250 pages worth of text in order to have to change it up anyway. So there you go. I am done with this video. I'm done with you all, and I'm out of here. How the hell do I turn this damn thing off? Oh, hell of the Demon Lord.